Welcome back. We're continuing our study of myths and their themes. So far, we've been studying the myth of Icarus and his flight. We're going to use this myth to study an important aspect of Greek mythology. We've covered what features myths contain. Characteristics of myths include taking place in the ancient past. They're used to explain things in nature. They explain human nature. They contain supernatural events, and they contain characters that are gods, spirits, or exceptional humans. Most importantly, they were used to teach lessons or show what is important to a culture. Today, we're going to have a very close look at this aspect. Greek myths featured 12 main gods, and each one was in charge of something different. There was Apollo, god of the sun and music. There was Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. There was also Zeus, god of thunder and in command of all the other gods. Greece is not alone. Almost every culture in the world has its own collection of ancient myths. A culture is a nation or a large group of people. Each collection of myths is unique to that group's view of the world, and like with our myth, the Flight of Icarus, we can use them to learn about those cultures. We've learned that Greek myths, like all stories, have characters, and that many times those characters can be gods. These gods are going to be part of our focus in today's assignment, so you'll have to pay close attention to the story. Why, you're probably wondering? We're going to be evaluating the relationship between gods and humans in myths. By relationship, we mean how do gods and humans treat each other? What do they think of each other? How do they feel about each other? All of these things are what we would call a relationship. Examining this will help us understand that most important aspect of myths, what was important to ancient Greeks. Let's analyze a couple of warm-up examples before starting our assignment. Let's have a look at the ancient mythology of Northern Europe, called Norse Mythology. We'll quickly evaluate what the relationship between humans and gods was in these myths. So what was their relationship like? Here are some general facts about Norse mythology. In Norse mythology, gods very rarely interacted with human beings. In these myths, gods created the first humans and then mostly left them alone. Many Norse myths focused on the constant wars of the gods, of the good gods and the evil gods. Eventually, these wars destroy the ancient world in an event known as Ragnarok, similar to the Battle of Armageddon in the Holy Bible. Humans in these myths, and even real humans in ancient times, were still expected to make sacrifices to these gods for their protection from harm. Given this information, which one of these choices do you think would best describe the relationship between mythic Norse gods and humans? I'll give you 15 seconds to think about it. We should probably go with A. The relationship can be said to be one that was cold, distant, and very demanding. Why A? Well, the gods created the first humans and then went back to their destructive wars while still demanding human obedience. No one said it was an easy relationship. For our second and final evaluation, we move to the Native American Blackfoot tribe, which lived in the Idaho and Montana region of the United States and up into Canada. In the Blackfoot mythology, one of the most important gods was named Napi. In the creation story of the Blackfoot, Napi created the earth, wind, rivers, grass, and everything else in existence. As a kind favor to the humans inhabiting the earth, he made sure the bison on the plains were tame enough for the people to hunt and use for a food resource. Napi could also be something of a trickster or troublemaker. As a trick, he gave all the people of the world different colored waters that made them all speak different languages. However, throughout the myths, this god also teaches the Blackfoot people important things about life and survival. Given this information, which one of these choices do you think would summarize the relationship between the mythic Blackfoot god and humans? I'll give you 15 seconds to read and decide. This relationship is different from Norse mythology. It is a relationship that is one that is giving, protecting, but sometimes a little difficult. Napi created people and blessed them with the needed resources to survive, but did something slightly cruel to amuse himself. Now that we've practiced, we're going to refocus on Greek mythology with the Flight of Icarus. Like we just did, examine the relationship between the sun god Apollo and the human characters. Remember, a relationship can be defined by asking the questions: how do they treat each other? What do they think of each other? How do they feel about each other? Feel free to begin today's assignment. Analyze the text too. As always, you've got this.